In this video I'm going to show you how we upload data into the Hostcomm dialer service. So data is contained in a list, okay, so a list is a container for data. So the first thing we need to do is to add a new list. So I'm going to add a new list. The list needs to have a numerical list ID preferably, and then you give it a name pertaining to the data that you're going to put into this. So I'm just going to put in some data with my mobile phone number in it today. If you're buying in data from different suppliers, put the data supplier's name in here. The reason for this is because you can basically run reports on a per list basis to see which one of your suppliers is giving you the best results. And then obviously we need to assign this to a campaign. So I'll just assign it to our generic campaign. And if we want to start dialing from this data immediately, then we make the list active and press submit. So we've created our container for data. There's a number of settings in here that we can set up if we want to. The only one I'll mention at this point really is this one here, so reset times. So when you upload data into the list for the first time, it will automatically assign data with a status of new. Okay, so it's new, fresh data that's never been dialed before as far as this dial is concerned. So when you've called that data once, it will have a different status. Now that might be something that the agent's given it, like a sale or not interested, or it might be something that the dialer's given it, like a no answer auto dial. Okay, so some of those leads you're going to want to recycle, and the recommended way of recycling leads is to set up a reset time on the list. Okay, so let's say that we've got a bunch of agents who are working 9 till 5. And we want to reset the list halfway through the day. Okay, let's just put in a reset time of 1 PM. Okay, so it's 24-hour clock. So what that will do is any leads that have been dispositioned with a dialable status in the campaign will then become dialable again at 1 o'clock. Okay, that doesn't mean that they're going to all get dialed at 1 o'clock immediately. It just means that those leads become dialable again from that time. Okay, you might already have a bunch of leads in the hopper. You might be prioritizing new leads over recycled leads, etc. So there's a number of ways that you can set the data to be dialed, you know, in a certain orders. So this just means that it will become dialable again at that time. Okay, so we've created our container for data. Now we need to load some leads into that container. So we click on the load new leads, and then we just browse to our file. Okay, I've got a file on my desktop with my mobile phone number in it, so I'm just going to put that in there, and then I tell it which list ID I want to put it into. So we're going to put it into the 109 I've just created, and then the phone code override will always be 44 for Great Britain, which is there. And then we've got a few options. Okay, so file layout to use. So the dialer database has a format that it's set in stone in. Okay, so if your data is already matched to that format, then you can use the standard format button. Okay, that's fairly unlikely, so what you're probably going to use is either the custom layout or the custom template. Okay, if you're buying in data from the same provider, and so the format of your data is consistent, then you could create a custom template. Okay, so that custom template will say, right, this column here will map onto this column on the dialer database. Okay, and it's always going to feed it into the same list ID. Okay, so if your data format is consistent, you can set up a template and just apply the templates when you're uploading. Okay, but in this instance, I'm going to say that's not the case, so I'm just going to do it manually, which is the custom layout button here. We also have the option to check for duplicate phone numbers in the data as we upload it. I'm not going to do that today because it's all my mobile phone numbers, so that would only allow me to upload one record. But you can check by phone number in the list ID that we're uploading to, by phone number in all lists in the campaign, or across the entire system. Okay. So, and these are US specific, so we don't have to worry about those. So just press submit here. So we've got our dialer database field headers on the left here, and we've got our data field headers on the right here in the drop downs. Okay, so if I look in the drop downs here, we can see that they are the field headers in my data, my spreadsheet. Okay, so all we're doing here is we're matching them up. So we're going to map the phone number onto the phone number field, title onto the title field, first name onto first name, last name, etc. Okay. You don't have to do everything here. Obviously, the more you match up and map over, the more will be displayed to the agent when the call comes through. The only absolute essential field is the phone number field, because obviously if there's no value in the primary phone number field, it sees it as a bad record and won't upload that record. You can see there's also an alternative phone number field here, so we put the alt phone field in there. You can actually have up to 4 telephone numbers per prospect or record, but in this case I'm just going to go with the 2. You can also create custom fields which would then appear below this owner field here, and then obviously if you've already got those custom fields in your data, you can map them over. So for example, you were doing PPI and you wanted to, or you already had the data for the lender and the amounts, you could then just map those over and have those appear to the agent through the dialer interface if you wanted to. Okay, so let's say we've mapped all of our fields, click on OK to process, and it's saying 112 good, 1 bad, total 113. My 1 bad was record 0, which was my top row of headers, which it saw had an invalid phone number length, so it didn't upload it. Okay, so if I'd had any duplicates, or if I was doing a duplicate check and had any duplicates, they would all appear here. We can then just copy those into a spreadsheet and send them back to our data supplier to potentially leverage some money back for duplicate leads. Okay, so that's how you upload data. Thanks for watching.